and welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. You are listening to the Brittney Bundles podcast, where we empower people through entrepreneurship. On this podcast, I do want to start inviting other businesses, other entrepreneurs to share their journeys, to share their tips, and also insights, products, services, anything of value that we all can use to collectively better ourselves or better a certain area in our life, or share other fundamental blocks that are very necessary and important, and that could inspire others to not only get started with their business, but maybe pick up the pieces of a business that they may have been discouraged about before. Last week, I brought on an entrepreneur, a very special guest, with the intention of doing just that. It's very important for us to share the information that we know, and for us not to keep everything that has helped us become who we are bottled up and for our own gain. I'm proud of the things that I've gone through, and I'm blessed with the journey that God has allowed me to travel down, because I am able to share information and tools and tips and resources with so many other people. And so it lets me know that my pain is not in vain. It lets me know that my story is not in vain. It lets me know that the things that I go through and the things that I have gone through are all very necessary and have a bigger purpose than even my happiness. It has a bigger purpose than even my success. And so we're all in this together. So if you'd like to share your story, your journey, your tips, your insight, your perspective on your entrepreneurial journey, we'd love to have you on the podcast show. Be sure to email me at Btalks, Talks. Again, that's Btalks at yahoo.com. Today we have a very, very special episode. I'm going to be talking about building financial stability. Building financial stability and why it's so important that we start. The earlier we start and we move towards building financial security and stability for our families and ourselves, the greater outcome we'll typically have. I didn't really know too much about financial security. I didn't really know too much about making sure that I structure my finances in a way that not only gets me through today, gets me through next month, but makes it so I have a choice in what I decide to do in my life. Now, we all have choices, no matter what amount of money you have. But I think we all can also agree that when you have less money, there may be certain things in your life that you feel like you have to do when you really would rather be doing something else. For example, there were many years that I worked my 9-to-5, and I felt like I worked that 9-to-5 because I had no other option. I had no choice. I didn't set up the right saving structure for my family and I, so I couldn't quit when I wanted to quit. I didn't think for my future long term. Yeah, I thought for this month, next month, but I didn't really think about what I wanted long term goals. I didn't really think about creating a savings for my children initially when I was in my younger 20s. I just thought that if I had a savings, that was enough. And I also thought that a savings was only for rainy days. I didn't understand the importance of making sure that you do build a cushion so that you have the freedom to truly do what you want to do in life. That you don't have to feel like you're a slave to a certain 9-to-5 job. That you don't feel like your time is wasted because you have to do something and you're not able to do what you rather do or what you want to do. How many of you understand that doing what you want to do and calling that your job or considering that your income source is a blessing? And I never take that for granted. So today we're going to be talking about some ways that we can move towards financial stability, not just making money, but becoming financially stable. So if you are interested in this podcast episode, get ready, grab a friend or call a friend, tell them to tune in to the Brittney Bundles podcast, or even better, send them the link. Let's go ahead and get started. We're going to be talking about building financial stability. Welcome back to another podcast episode with Brittney Bundles. Okay, So the first thing that I want to talk about is make money. How are we going to make money? See, in order to build financial security, in order to work towards being financially free, being financially stable, we first need to understand how we're going to make money. Without having money, we have no finances to budget. We have no finances to save. We have no finances to invest. So the first step in building financial stability is making money. But we have to figure out how we're going to make money. See, this is another reason why I always say, don't be embarrassed about working your 9 to 5. Don't be embarrassed about doing what you're doing for money. Of course, as long as it's legal and ethical. But don't be embarrassed about that. A lot of people talk about quitting your job, doing this, doing that, without really having a plan. You see, I'm also someone that pushes people and motivates people and encourages people to do what it is they want to do. Follow their heart, follow their dreams, follow their passions. But I'm also very realistic, and I don't want anyone to go down the path of following their dreams only to have to stop that path and start back over from square one. If we're not intentional and cautious on the way that we move and how we move, that can definitely happen. And no, it's not the end of the world if you have to start over or if you have a few setbacks. A few setbacks, honestly, are normal. But if we can avoid certain things before getting started, why not? So make money. Before you quit your job, before you decide to go to your business 100%, think about how we're going to keep money generating. And not only think about that, but I recommend having at least 5 different streams of revenue coming into your home at all times. Now, that doesn't mean that the streams have to be the exact same streams every single quarter, every year, every decade. I mean, you can change them up, but at least having 5 different streams. So if you work, you have your 9 to 5. You may have a business, so your business can be your second stream. You may do affiliate links, so that's your third stream. Maybe you're doing YouTube, so that's your 4th stream. And let's just say that you've created an ebook, so you're selling your ebook too. And it's in your business, but it's another stream outside of your business that you've tied together, and so you have technically 5 streams. Or maybe you're doing a class or a course to train and to teach other people and to help other people with the skills and gifts that God's blessed you with. Those are just some, but there are many other ways that you can have different streams of income working for you. So the first tip would be make money multiple ways. There are so many entrepreneurs that have a one-track mind. They start their business and that's all they can think about. Just my business. And that's great. I really, really, really admire. I admire the enthusiasm. I admire the dedication and the drive. However, if we're only focused on one specific area, one specific stream, that leaves a whole bunch of opportunities on the table that are just sitting there. And I don't know about you, but I want to make sure that I'm taking advantage of all of the opportunities that I possibly can. So I'm not going to pile my plate up to the point where I can't eat all of it. I'm going to make sure that I have the right balance and the right consumption for my body and for my life and for my goals. But I'm also not going to get so consumed at that dessert table that I'm not looking at any other areas or any other food choices of nutrition. So relate that to business. I'm not going to get so consumed in my hair business where I can't see any other opportunities, where I don't have the time to record on my podcast, where I don't have the time to make a YouTube video, where I don't have even the energy to want to work my affiliate links or even position my affiliate links to work for me. I have to have multiple ways. And also, it's very important to have multiple ways and streams of producing revenue, income, because anything can change. And no, I'm not someone that likes to live in the what if, but I am someone that likes to live productively, and I like to be proactive. So I'm not going to wait until a storm comes before I start to prepare for it. I'm not going to wait before a crisis happens before I start to prepare for it. And this year really showed me, because although I thought that I was way prepared for something like this to happen, if my business didn't get as many sales as I anticipated, I'll be fine. And thank God I was fine. But I definitely saw some areas of opportunities during this shutdown, during this pandemic, where I can tighten up ship. So the first step in becoming financially stable, like I mentioned, is making money. Multiple ways, and being creative. There are so many people that have so many great ideas, and the ideas are never put into use. They're never put to the test. Before you even start doing your business venture, or before you even start putting your plans and your vision into reality, into action, you automatically disqualify yourself because you can't figure out how to connect D to E. We haven't even begun with A, but you're thinking ahead of time, which is great. You're being proactive, but you're jumping around so far in your plan that you're not really giving yourself a chance. There are so many people that could be in a position completely different than where they're at today if they would have followed through. A lot of us are exactly where we are because we did not follow through. Not because we're not smart enough, not because we didn't have the money at that point, not because we don't have the money now, not because we're not ambitious, but because we didn't follow through. So be creative. And don't just look at what I can't do as an excuse to not do it. I challenge you all to find ways that you can do it, and then be consistent and intentional. I made a post on my Instagram, and it was a quote that said, "Success doesn't happen from what you do occasionally. It happens from what you do consistently." And go to my post, go to my Instagram, and you'll be able to see who that quote came from. But that's very true. There are so many people that stop after a few discouragements, that stop after a few disappointments. And you see, life is all about what you make it. But I choose to intentionally live my life in a way where I don't give up so easily, where I'm consistent in my plans. I'm consistent in my follow-through motion, because I understand that that's necessary for me to build stability. So look into affiliate links, partnerships, different business possibilities. You may want to open a completely different business than the one that you're in now, or maybe a different avenue in your business. Part-time jobs, sponsorships, writing ebooks, hosting classes, but ultimately monetize your talents. And no, I didn't say monetize your talents, monetize your talents. But we have to get into the motion and into the mindset of producing income. Because without income, we're so limited as to how financially stable we can become. We need money to be able to work with. So I challenge all of you, by the end of today, write down at least 5 different streams that you are going to dedicate your time to actually make reality. And it doesn't mean that once you have the 5 streams up and running that everything is going to just flow automatically and you're going to be financially stable overnight. But becoming financially stable is a journey. And so we have to start from someplace. Making money is not the same as being financially stable. There are many people that make great money but are not financially stable. Being financially stable gives you peace of mind. You don't have to worry about where your next meal is coming from. You don't have to worry about, if I walk away from this 9 to 5, what's going to happen to my home. You don't have to worry about your car being repossessed. You don't have to worry about your children being hungry. You don't have to worry about what's going to happen next year if this specific business doesn't do as you hoped it did, because we're financially stable. And also ask God. Ask God to help you hold on to your money. Ask God to help you with your spending habits. Which brings me to my next tip. Build saving structures. So there are a lot of people that don't have a problem with making money. I'll say that again. They don't have a problem with making money. They have a problem with saving it. They have a problem with building a saving structure that's going to accommodate their life, and also be able to sustain the life that they are either living now or that they want to live in the future. I really suggest everyone getting multiple bank accounts. And with the other bank account that you get, cut up the debit card that comes along with it. Yeah, cut up the debit card that comes along with it. Don't have your money easily accessible for you. Building a savings is not just to save for your next big purchase, necessarily. I mean, you can have a savings account for that. I'm saving for the purchase of my home, or I'm saving for the down payment of my home, or I'm saving for my new car, or I'm saving for this, or I'm saving for that. But you also want to make sure that you're intentional with saving strictly for the purpose of having financial stability, building wealth for your family, so that even when you're no longer here, your family will still be okay. And not only are we building the financial structure for our family, but we're also showing them and teaching them different things that we've learned in relation to generating income and in relation to making sure that we structure our income in a way that allows us to save. And there are so many people that say, I can't afford to save. Well, that goes back to number one, making money. We have to open another stream. Now, all streams take money to open. There are some businesses that I've started through affiliate links. I'll use that for an example, where I don't have to invest anything into that specific stream to get money from it. There are different partnerships where I didn't have to invest anything but my time. And yeah, time is valuable, but I'm speaking on the monetary aspect. I didn't have to invest any money to make it. So it goes back to number one with being creative, being intentional, and staying consistent. And once we make the money, then we bounce back to number two, which is building that saving structure. Saying no to some spending outlets, saying no to some spending adventures, saying no to some different experiences that we may not be at the place to take right now. Just because you can see the money in your account doesn't mean it needs to be spent. And I talk about that a lot on my YouTube channel at Brittney Bundles. So many of us would be so much better off if we would have said no to a few big purchases that we just said yes to within this year. I don't want to be regretful in anything that I purchase. I don't want to have to think and contemplate, should I return this? Should I not return it? Just because you can see it doesn't mean that you can truly afford it. And everyone's definition of affording it is different. But if you're looking at becoming financially stable, then one of the ways that I challenge myself to look at affording it is, have I put my money aside for this month? Did I save what my saving goal is? I paid all of my bills. I have money available for spending, for just on hand money, gas and miscellaneous things that I may want to get. After all that's said and done, how much am I putting toward my financial stability fund? And if I look back at all of that, how much do I have left out of everything that I spent? The stability fund, my savings, my bills, my cash on hand, different investments that I may be a part of. Okay, can I get it now? So we have to build up that saving structure and also start building a trail and a history for your banking institution to see. That's going to come in hands when you are looking at purchasing your first home, getting a car. And also, to get into building financial stability, we want to look at owning assets. So obtaining a mortgage is definitely a great way to look into doing that. Purchasing. And yeah, when you get a mortgage, because a lot of people say this, that's not necessarily purchasing. No, but it starts you on that plan. That's not actually a purchased home. No, it's not purchased yet. You still do owe debt on it. But it starts you on that right path versus renting and you're constantly dishing out money without even starting the process of ownership. So everyone has a different goal in their life. And so everyone should have a different financial structure. But I'm specifically speaking to those today that do want to become financially stable, because it's a process, it's a journey, and it's all intentional. Like I said, you can make money and still not be where you want to be in the next 5 years. You can open businesses and still not see the success that you had hoped to see if you don't position them correctly. So build your savings structure. Now, the next tip that I have, and this may sound a little funny, but stop broadcasting how much money you have and expecting people to not ask. So another reason that a lot of people cannot get ahead is because they're always giving out. Now, because they're giving out, a lot of people automatically assume that they have a spending problem. Well, if you stop buying all those shoes, you'll be all right. No, if you wouldn't have gone ahead and got that new game system, you would have been all right. If you wouldn't have got that new coat, you would have been fine. But that's not always the case. You see, there are some people that can't say no when people ask for money. There are some people that don't know how to say no. And I used to be a person that did not know how to say no. I didn't know. I knew, of course, to say no, but I would always feel nervous to say no. I would always feel wrong to say no. I would always feel selfish to say no. And that's something that I really had to work through. And I realized that by not saying no, it was pushing me further behind. And it actually limited the amount of help that I could provide. It limited the amount of help that I could provide. Because the better off that you're doing, the better potential that you have at possibly helping someone else. I can't help as many people if I'm struggling myself. Now, I didn't say I couldn't help anyone, but I said as many. And so we want to make sure that we're not neglecting ourselves. We want to make sure that everything has a plan and a purpose, and that we're budgeting everything out. So if you are on a goal of building financial stability for your family and your loved ones, stop broadcasting how much money you have. It's no one's business. And then turn around and get upset or shocked when someone says, well, since you got it, can I borrow about 5,000 of it? I'll have it back next week. And you don't get it back. And so now you're 5,000 in the hole. Plus you had some unexpected car problems. So now you're more in the hole. Plus, I don't know, maybe you had a leak in your roof. So now you're set back even further. Stop broadcasting. Help when you can, but don't be afraid to say no. Don't be afraid to say, I don't have it if you don't. Don't feel obligated to tell everyone what your financial structure or what your financial portfolio is looking like. It's okay to keep some things silent. It's okay to keep some things personal. It's okay to not share everything. And so in order for us to get on the right track of becoming stable, we have to change some of the habits that we have that have prohibited us and prevented us from becoming stable sooner. So ask yourself, what am I doing that's stopping me from getting on this path? Is it a spending problem? Is it a problem where I can't say no? Do I not have a saving structure? Have I not opened enough streams of income? Where is it and how can I bridge the gap? But once the gap is bridged, how can I make sure that I'm implementing the right action steps and the right behaviors to make sure that I'm not backsliding, that I'm actually progressing and moving forward toward my goal? Now, the next tip that I have is invest your money. So tie it up. If you have a problem with spending your money, tie your money up. You can tie your money up in CDs. Check with your financial advisor if you have one. Check with your banking institution and ask about their rates on CDs. I mean, you might as well earn money on your money while you're not using it. My goal is to have my money work for me. Let your money work for you. You don't always have to work for money. You don't always have to work for money. Your money should be working for you at a certain point. So the longer you stay in business, I know the longer I stay in business, some people ask, well, how are you still okay? I don't see you really moving around too much. How are you still making money? I don't see you down at that salon anymore. How are you? I don't have to move as much because my money is working for me. You can also have your money work for you with different investments. So learn about stocks and see if that's a good business venture, a good pathway for you. It's not for everybody, but it all depends on your financial situation. It all depends on your financial goals. And it depends on truly what you want to do. But that's another way to tie up your money so that you're not spending it, so that it's actually, it could be working for you. Maybe open up another business. No one said that you have to only have one business as an entrepreneur. It goes back to when I was talking about making sure that you're not only focused on the dessert. I'm not just going to focus on the hair business to the point where I can't look at any other options for my business. If I was only just focused on my hair business and that's it, I would never have started this podcast. I would have never started offering business consultations. I would have never created an ebook. I would have never created a YouTube channel. So there's different things that I do to generate income. There's different businesses that I've branched out into to generate income. And I'm actually thinking about a completely new business that has nothing to do with hair at all or business consultations. I'm sure I'll find a way to bring it on the podcast and tie it into what I'm already doing. But that's what it's about. Staying moving, tying your money up, making more money, saving your money, and building your way to financial stability. The last tip that I have is don't increase your expenses each time you have the money to do so. Now, we've talked about this on the podcast. There are so many people that every time they get an opportunity to buy something new, they take it. And they look back and they have all of these things, but nothing really to show for it. And what I mean by that is they have a lot of different tangible objects. They have a lot of different possessions, right? But as far as their life becoming stable, as far as moving toward ownership, as far as them actually being able to increase their level in business, as far as them being able to really expand their business, they're not able to do so. Yeah, they have a lot of the materialistic things, but the fundamentals and the actual building blocks for financial stability are not there. There are a lot of people that have a lot of money, but don't have stability. And so becoming stable in anything takes time. Anyone can build a house, but not everyone can build a house the right way where it's going to maintain its structure and be stable. A lot of people can make money, but not everyone can make money in a way that's going to maintain, sustain, and also elevate their level of living. Everything that we have to do, down to the people that we associate with, down to the choices that we choose as far as the areas that we're going to be in, as far as the business opportunities that we're going to take, as far as the opportunities that we decided not to take, as far as the food that we eat, as far as our life with God. Everything has a significant place to the overall well-being of our life. And so that's why I say it takes being intentional. There are a lot of people that consider a certain amount of money, as being wealthy and well off. And you can have a lot of money, like I said, but if it's not structured the right way, you may be surprised at how it actually turns out. There used to be a show that I used to watch where people would go and they would give people in different neighborhoods and different areas that maybe, I don't know if they were homeless or they were struggling, but they would give them a large wad of money. And they would come back and they would check on them, I guess after a few months, or maybe, I don't know if it was after a year or half the year, but they would come back and check on them. And a lot of them didn't have the money anymore. Now, I'm sure it wasn't because they went and spent all the money that same night. I'm sure it wasn't because they went and lost the money on their way walking someplace. But it's really important to not only make money, but really start as soon as we can, educating ourselves and educating our loved ones and educating our friends and educating our peers on financial awareness. Why it's important to have a good credit score, even if you feel like you don't need to take out a loan right now. Why it's important to make sure that you have a savings, even if you are in the position in your life where you have everything that you want. As far as your car, your house, your children are set up fine. You have everything else in your home that you want. Why it's still important to save. Why it's important to invest your money. Even when you have a business that's doing well. So these are some of the things that we have to educate ourselves on so that we can fully understand the full picture of becoming stable, like becoming more financially aware, so that we can understand exactly where we are and we can have a better chance at creating a plan to get us where we want to be. So those are my tips in regards to becoming financially stable. Make money, multiple streams, creatively, be consistent and intentional. And then save the money that you're making. Not just save it so that you can have some money there for your next big purchase, but save towards financial stability specifically. And then stop broadcasting how much money you make and being shocked when people ask for it. Especially if you're in the position where you can't say no. It's something you're going to have to practice. Like I said, saying no isn't easy, especially to those that you love. So it may take some practice. If you're not there, stop broadcasting it. Invest your money. Tie it up. You don't always have to have loose funds around you. I used to be in the store and I would see different people that I knew. I would even be with people sometimes and they would pull out lots of money from their purse or lots of money from their pants. And I'm like, tie your money up. Tie it up. I'm not saying you're going to lose it. And I'm not saying that, you'll act foolishly with it. But one way to guarantee that your money's working for you is to tie it up in a smart investment where it can do so. There's no point of just having your money there so you can look at it. If you got it, tie it up and invest it. And then the last tip is plan to not increase your expenses each time you have the money to do so. Everyone should know when you make more money in your business. Based on the new watch that you purchased or based on the new home that you got. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. A lot of us are going broke trying to prove that we have money. It's not your job to prove to everyone where you're at. And even if you think it's your job, more than likely they still won't believe you. During this pandemic, a lot of people got lots of money back via loans, unemployment, lots of different things. And you'll be surprised to see a lot of those people are struggling now. Because it's not just about how much money you get. If you don't have the financial awareness or the financial intentions on making sure that you're doing the correct thing with your money so that you won't be in the same position that you just got out of. It's all intentional. No one just happens upon financial stability unless it was given to them. But I know for the majority of us, we didn't have that life where it was just given to us. We have to work for it. And I like that. I like the fact that it's not given to me. I like the fact that I have to work for it because I've learned so much working for it. And I have a different perspective and a different appreciation working for it. I don't know if I would have had the same appreciation if I would have just been given large lump sums of money. But because I didn't have that experience, I'm appreciative even more for everything that I get. I'm thanking God even more for the lessons that He's showing me. So let's be intentional and let's make sure that we're not only making money, but that we're investing and saving it in the right way to create the concrete foundation that we need for not only us, but for generations to come. So I really hope that you all enjoyed this podcast. I hope that you took something from it. As always, I don't want the conversation to end. If you do have any questions, inputs, topics, please feel free to reach out to me via email. My email address is Btalks, that's BTALKS @yahoo.com. I'm also on Instagram at Brittney_bundles. That's Brittney, BRITTNEY_BUNDLES. I'm on YouTube, Brittney Bundles, Twitter, Brittney Bundles, Facebook, Brittney Bundles. And until next time, I'll talk to you all on the next podcast episode.